In the middle of the 17th century, a lone hunter named Ogunlola sat under an Ajag-born tree in a wild, untouched forest. He didn't know it then, but the smoke rising from the distant hills was the first sign of a destiny that would change Yoruba history forever. He was a master archer who sought peace in the wilderness. But peace is a luxury the Old Oyo Empire rarely allowed. This is the story of how a man in chains became a king, and how a severed head gave a city its name. Ogunlola and his wife, Eshu, lived a quiet life. But soon, other hunters joined him, drawn by his strength and his skill with the bow. Together, they formed the Arlongo Society, a brotherhood of warriors pledged to protect their small camp from the constant threat of slave raiders. Their settlement grew, built around the very tree where Ogunlola first rested. As their numbers swelled, so did their reputation. Ogunlola became their leader, a respected figure whose authority came not from a crown, but from his courage. However, his rising influence caught the attention of the authorities in Oyo Ile, the magnificent capital of the great Oyo Empire. The empire did not tolerate independent power. Accused of a crime he did not commit, Ogunlola was seized, bound in chains, and dragged to the dreaded dungeons of the Alaafin, the emperor himself. His dream of a peaceful settlement seemed to die there, in the cold darkness of his cell. While Ogunlola languished in prison, the Oyo Empire was facing its own nightmare. A terrifying warrior named Elemoso was sacking villages and terrorizing the capital. He was described as a giant, faster than a shadow and stronger than 10 men combined. Even the Alaafin's greatest generals trembled at his name, their armies unable to stop his relentless attacks. Fear gripped the heart of the empire. From his prison cell, Ogunlola heard the whispers of terror. He saw an opportunity. He sent a message to the king. "Release me, and I will bring you the head of the man who terrifies your kingdom." The king, desperate, and with no other options, was intrigued, a condemned prisoner promising to defeat an unstoppable giant. He granted the hunter one chance at freedom, and one chance to save the empire. Ogunlola did not rush into battle. He was a hunter, not a brawler. He spent days in the shadows, tracking his prey, studying Elemoso's movements, learning his habits, and searching for a weakness. He watched how the giant moved, how his guards were positioned, and when he was most vulnerable. One moonless night, Ogunlola crept into the enemy camp. With the patience of a predator, he drew his bow. A single arrow, loosed with perfect aim, found its mark, bringing the giant down. Before the enemy guards could even react, Ogunlola drew his blade and took the head of the terror. He walked back into the capital, holding the proof of his victory. When he presented that head to the king, the city erupted in celebration. The nightmare was over. The relieved king offered him gold, titles, and land. But Ogunlola refused them all. He had only one request. He looked towards the distant forest where his home was and said, "Ajay Kiyama She Ohan, let me manage that place yonder." He returned to his tree not as a prisoner, but as a hero. His settlement became known as Ayiti Ojibori Elemosho, the place of he who brought the head of the giant. Over time, that long name was shortened, smoothed by generations of voices into the name we know today, Ogbomosho. Ogunlola became its first Soun, the first king, founding a dynasty that has ruled for over 300 years. His story reminds us that even from the darkest prison, a hero can rise to build a kingdom. I am the voice of the moon. Whose kingdom should we visit next? Let me know in the comments below.